This is John Cameron with EDM Identity, and I'm here with Taylor Torrence, DJ and producer who played here at EDC last night, EDC in Las Vegas. Pretty impossible to have a bad time here, wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
it was great. It was great. I got on the mic at the end of my set and I said, "This is one of the best nights of my life." So you're catching me at a good time.
And this set is very different
Yeah,
from the set you played at your first EDC performance 2 years ago,
yeah,
isn't it?
completely different. Completely different. Not even the same stage. Still, in some way related to trance, but a completely different style. I would say the opposite end of the spectrum within that genre umbrella, if you will.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. And it seems like you're still kind of being pulled between these two worlds, between kind of the trance world and the techno world,
yeah,
because Ignition, your most recent
right,
release, Ignition, it still has a lot of that sort of big room revealed sound. Came out on Revealed,
right,
obviously,
yeah,
but then I also hear your newer kind of big room techno influences
right,
in it.
yeah.
What do you think? What influences led to that track?
So for that particular track, I think what I'm trying to do with the music overall is the low end, the kick drums, techno inspired, the drums, techno inspired, but the synths have that big reverbed trance, massive sound that, Armada had done to the 2010s and that even heard through, in Beats at one point. I still have that essence of my prior sound, but the low end of the track completely feels much more techno inspired. And combining those two things, I think it's been interesting, it's been fun, and I've been trying to do that lately. And that track is really like the perfect distillation of those two contrasting elements.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. And walk me back to when the seed of this new direction for you was planted,
Yeah.
because I think everybody, you've made it pretty clear. You were talking for a while about how, you kind of wanted to go in this different direction, and then when you unveiled it, I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, it's like a more techno direction.
Yeah.
So when did that, in your mind, when did that start? And kind of walk me through that process.
It's a really good question. So the last time that you and I talked was about 2020. And at that point, I was making Beats inspired progressive vocal trance, 128 BPM, 130 BPM, female vocal trance, right? Like emotionally impactful stuff. And at that point, I think that spoke to the type of person that I was at the time. And I think maybe it was the pandemic. I don't know what the mechanism of action was, but I just, over the last few years, developed as a person, and not to get too deep with you, John, but, just developed my assertiveness as a person,
Yeah.
tried to just build a backbone with, my boundaries, everything. And with that change and that personal development, I found that my taste in what I wanted to make, the music that I wanted to listen to changed. And yeah, I mean, at the same time of that kind of personal development that was occurring, and again, maybe it was just the pandemic, a lot of us changed during the pandemic. At the same time, I saw artists like Will Sparks, and I watched Hardwell's return to Ultra in 2022, it was. And they were unveiling this new techno-inspired sound that it just totally gripped me. And I thought, this is really cool. And, they're more on the like big room side of the spectrum than I think I would want to go. But I could hear in the music that they were making at that time that essence of what drew me to trance as well, right? Big synths and a lot of energy. And, I just felt like, the combination of me changing as a person, my taste changing, and then seeing or hearing this new sound bubble up that I hadn't heard before just sparked my curiosity. And I just decided to just unlearn everything I had learned before and go in on something new. And I've been having a lot more fun as a result. I feel like my old sound I sometimes took too seriously, right?
Sure.
And my mindset about the music that I make is just more about having fun, not taking it as seriously anymore. And I've been having a better time as a result, playing out the music, making it. It's been a lot more fun for me.
I see.
Yeah.
And speaking of not taking it seriously, I do have a bit of a curveball for you, Taylor.
Okay. All right. I'm
ready
ready
for my curveball?
Yeah.
Feed Me Pills.
Yeah.
Your big kind of breakout track
it's
like
been
this.
doing well. Yeah.
I feel like, we don't know each other super well,
Yeah.
but I don't feel like you're a person who does a lot of feeding of pills to people or having pills fed to him. I guess I'm calling out your pill feeding credentials. Like
You might be surprised.
really.
Might be. maybe not recently, right? I mean, I've gone to law school. I practiced as a lawyer. You know,
Yeah.
those life experiences have definitely created a certain responsibility that I feel I have. But
Sure.
you know, I have some life experience in the pill feeding part of the world, if you know what I mean.
Part of the reason I asked that, I just wanted to see how you were going to lawyer yourself out of it. And I'm impressed, man. I'm
Give you a
impressed.
political answer.
Yeah, that was very good. Do you think your wife is going to be making more appearances on your tracks? Because that was quite an iconic vocal.
She's right there actually filming this. Yeah, I think she will. It's hard to do because she, you know, she's not like a singer. She's, you know, it's like we had to put her voice through AI, but yeah, I think it's you know, we had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I think we'll give it a shot, you know, see if it can work. It depends on the track, but I'd give it a shot. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, just like we were talking about on the way up here, things are a lot more multi-genre right now.
Right.
People aren't as siloed into these really specific things they like and
Right.
stuff like that. Do you feel like there are other genres you might explore? Do you have a burning desire to explore anything outside of techno, outside of trance?
Yeah, somebody asked me this recently, and you know, there's a lot of genres that I like. You know, I love drum and bass. You know, I still like progressive. You know, progressive trance. I still like it. You know, I like what Yotto and Lane 8 do. Those things, you know, I like them as a listener. But what I'm making right now is really working for me. It's the response to it's been amazing. I'm loving playing it out, and so at least for the, you know, intermediate term, I can't see myself shifting off of this. I think. I personally feel that producers, especially not producers who are super established, like as they're coming up, if they do too many things, I think it can kind of take them off of the momentum that they're generating for themselves in a particular direction.
Definitely.
Right. And so I'm
yeah.
trying to have the discipline, even though I would love to make a drum and bass track. I would have a lot of fun doing that. Or I would love to make something that's, you know, a bit more like like square techno, like peak time techno, like
Sure.
drum code style techno.
Yeah.
But I found this niche that I'm having fun with, and I feel like if I can have the discipline to stay on that as long as it's working, then I can generate more momentum and more forward velocity in where I'm going right now.
I see.
Yeah.
And another thing you've been doing that's really been building your brand up a lot is you really made this strong pivot to video content.
Yeah.
Have there been some big milestones in that process for you so far?
Milestones? Well, I've had a few videos that have performed well.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not really, you know, and I think people give me compliments about my content. They say, hey, I really like your content, or, you know, I think it gets engaged with well. But for me, it's just something I enjoy doing. And so, you know, for me, like making video content is another creative outlet, just like making music that, you know, even if it weren't performing well, if it weren't being engaged with, I would still do it for fun. You know, I vlog all of these experiences. So like this weekend, I'm vlogging the whole thing. I vlog, you know, every time I go and travel for a show, I vlog it. And sometimes the videos only get a couple hundred views, like, you know, but I do it because I enjoy it. So, you know, I feel like as I've reached a higher level of confidence with making music and it's not as much of a challenge, making video content is like that new creative challenge for me that I've just dove into. And, you know, it kind of scratches that itch to be challenged in my creative space a bit more.
I see.
Yeah.
And what else is on the horizon for you, you know? Anything you haven't told any other reporters about?
Good question. Well, I'm racking my brain seeing what I can say, and
Sure.
I can't speak anything specific, but I think on the horizon, if I had to speak in vague terms, I would love to, or I think that I'll be going international, playing some international shows outside the U.S.
Nice.
at some point, maybe in the next 12 months. I think that would be the next step that I would expect will happen in the next year. And I think for me, that's a really exciting thing because I've toured the US with Tritonal. I played just about every key venue in most major metro areas of the US. There's a couple I haven't played, but that experience, you know, I got the experience of touring the US. And personally, I don't find it too exciting to go to Columbus, Ohio. You know, like
Sure.
I want to go to Asia. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to Mexico or South America. Touring in those type of destinations is much more exciting to me, much more of an adventure thing. So that's my priority. And I feel like the wheels are in motion to make that happen over the next 12 to 18 months. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Taylor. It was
Thanks,
great
John.
talking
Appreciate
to
it, man.
you.
Thank
You
you.
know,
Yeah.
it's been awesome to see your come up. It's been awesome to see all the moves you're making.
Thanks.
This has been EDM Identity, and thank you for tuning in.
Peace.